Lead Academy, if I can say it. And I am hosting this show twice a week on Mondays and Thursdays at 1 o'clock. So today's topic is, should business owners have a job description? And this was inspired by a conversation yesterday where someone was telling me that they were spending time sorting out the job descriptions for all their team. And it suddenly dawned on me, is he doing it himself? Is he doing the job description for himself? Now, when I say business owners, I also include entrepreneurs in this. And I think entrepreneurs are very much driven by their freedom and doing things their own way. And if I suggested this, probably they would have a bit of a pushback. But the purpose of this talking about it is to realize actually ultimately it will save you time, ultimately it will be better for your team. And some people really struggle with the vision bit, and we know it's important to have a vision, because if you don't have a vision, you don't know where you're going. But if you struggle with that, then why don't you write a job description instead for yourself? And that's the answer to the other question, who should write it? And I think the job description should be written by you if you're the business owner or entrepreneur, because you're the one that has set the business up. You're the one that wants to achieve something. And ultimately, your business is something that is solving a problem. And whatever that problem was you started your business for, you presumably still want to do that. And it's all got to be part of that job description, where you fit in. Now, this will obviously change over time. So with job descriptions, especially if you're a business owner or entrepreneur, you need to update it. You need to evolve and realize that your job description needs to change as your team grows, as your vision changes, and you're adapting to all the things that are going on in the outside world. Because we know that not many businesses end up where they first set out to be. There's lots of stories of businesses that started to do one thing and then they changed, and that was where they got their biggest success. So my basic answer to my question is, yes, I believe that all business owners and entrepreneurs should write a description of some sort. And now obviously we've got to think about what a job description is. And, a job description is just a piece of paper or a document of some description which tells you what your responsibilities are. That's what it's outlining. And if you do that, then you can hold yourself accountable, which firstly is obviously what you need to do. It's all very well being an entrepreneur, but you have responsibilities, and those responsibilities will change over time. And more as you take on more people, then that responsibility becomes more of a leadership responsibility than a technical responsibility and expertise. So it's very important to realise that you're going to have to adapt and change your job description, because it won't be the same sort of 3 or 4 years down the line that it is when you started your business. But a job description could really keep you on track. It will stop you doing too much of the things that you shouldn't be doing. If you check in with your job description, is that really what I should be doing? And also make sure that you stick to what you say you should be doing, and hold yourself accountable. And I think, revisiting who should write it, I think yes, you should write it if you are the business owner or entrepreneur, but I also think that you should get involvement from those that, whether your team or those that have influence on you, or even someone like, if you're working with a coach or a mentor, get them to have some input, because they will guide you in a way that they will see things that you probably won't think of. So I think job description wise, we're really going into the boundaries of visioning and making sure that what you do, because ultimately job descriptions are about what you do, are also connected to why you do it. And again, that another conversation or many conversations I had recently is about connecting to why. If you are connected to why you started your business, then you are going to get better results, and people are really going to understand you better. And the why bit sounds a bit fluffy, doesn't it? It really does sound as if, well, what do you mean, why am I doing this? Everyone surely knows why I'm doing it. But no, not many people do know what you do, because we are great. We're all great at describing what we do. And we can tell people what we do, so we'll give ourselves a title. But then the next thing we default to is the how we do it. And then we start talking about the skills we use, the tools we use, all those things that are sort of easy to recall because we use them and they're part of our sort of day to day what we use. But what we got to do, and I think it's really relevant when we talk about job descriptions, is talk more about why we do what we do and connect that very closely to how we do it and also what we do. And so there's a link between all those three elements, and we don't get distracted in doing too much of the what we do. If we do that, then what we can end up doing, if we end up doing things that we may be good at, we might be good at something, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that is the right thing for you. But also, bearing in mind, are you doing what's right for your business? Are you allowing it to grow? Now, my story, if you don't know it, is that I joined the family retail business, ended up in the position of leading that business, and was unprepared for that position, really. But most importantly was that I ended up in a position which was not motivating me. And so I allowed that to happen. So what I realised when we had the discussion about the job description thing is that if I had a job description which was formulated by myself and then maybe refined with those that I work with, that would prevented that happening. And when you're doing these things, it's really good to have a good insight and have plenty of feedback. Plenty of feedback is really helpful in that you can make sure that you're using all those things that people see that you don't really take too much notice of. And you don't really appreciate that they are, one of your sort of superpowers or one of your strengths. So it's really important to know what those things are so that you can build them in to your job description. And the more detail you can put into that job description, make it into a visioning exercise, make it into something that really is something that's part of you and what you want to do. And when you finish writing that job description, then you should be able to read it and it should light you up. Because if it doesn't do that, then you need to start again. Because if it's full of stuff that really is not inspiring you, it's not the things that you want to do, then it's not really a document that's actually going to work for you. Because ultimately, it's your business. You're the entrepreneur. You're in charge of your own destiny. So you should be able to take charge of, making sure that your job role is right for you. Now, what I've seen many, many times is that the founder of the business and on the entrepreneurial spirit that started the business ends up in a position where they are managing director or CEO or whatever you want to call them. And actually, it's the completely wrong position for them. They're fighting to get away from it. They don't want to be there. They don't want to be responsible for everybody. They don't want... everything really is not geared up to what is motivating them. And so because there's nobody to hold them accountable, they don't really do it very well. And because they don't want to do it either, those elements start to get neglected. And it becomes a big problem for the business. It becomes an issue because the business can no longer grow. That's the thing. You have got to remember that if you want your business to grow, then you've got to be responsible for the important parts and take responsibility. And responsibility is really important. And I know I've been guilty of this in the past where I haven't really tuned into what my responsibilities are. And then what happens then is you start to consciously avoid those things. And once you start consciously avoiding things, then they become a bigger problem, and they become the elephant in the room. So I want to keep these shows quite short, but I think my message is if you've seen this, heard this, is bear in mind, if you're running a business, what is your job description? If you had to write it down, and I suggest you should do it, write down what your job description is, and include in 3 elements. Think about what you do, think about how you do it, and that's important with respect to your personality style and your behavioural style. If you're not tuned in with that, that can really help you to sort of make your business work for you in the way you want it to work. And then the other bit is the why. Why are you doing it? And we can all probably remember how we started our businesses and why we did it in the first place. What was that drive? But is that still the burning desire? Is that still the thing that's relevant? Is it still the problem that you want to solve? And if it's not, then it's obviously your choice, and you have the ability and the control and the power to change. You can move it, and you can move to whatever you want to do, and don't think that you have to be managing director, because in many cases entrepreneurs don't make great managing directors. So I hope that's been useful. If you want to hear more about what I do, then you can find more at the Reluctant Leader Academy, the reluctantleader.academy. If you look for the website, look for my YouTube channel, and also find me on Facebook and on LinkedIn. And don't forget, Mondays and Thursdays, the Get Savvy Show, and we'll be talking about all sorts of things that help businesses to grow and also people to grow, more importantly, as far as I'm concerned. If you can grow your people, grow yourself as a leader, make sure you're the best person in your business, then you will allow that growth to happen. I hope that was useful, and I will catch you on the next episode very soon.